In 1945, near the foothills of northern Italy, a platoon of Allied soldiers went to sleep in a makeshift camp and woke up surrounded by uniforms they didn't recognize. Their radios were silent, their coordinates didn't exist, and the world outside wasn't at war anymore. No one believed their story, until decades later a photo from that same platoon resurfaced, showing tanks that wouldn't be built until the 1960s. Stay with me, because by the end of this story you'll question not just what war they fought in, but when. It began with the 22nd Reconnaissance Platoon stationed near Lake Garda in April 1945. Germany was collapsing, Italy was crumbling, and Allied command had ordered every forward unit to secure the mountain passes. The men were exhausted, sleeping in shifts between mortar fire and freezing rain. But on the night of April 17th, something strange happened. A sudden, low-frequency hum shook the valley, not artillery, not aircraft. It felt like the ground itself vibrated. Private William Harper wrote in his journal, "It sounded like thunder, but the sky was clear. The light flickered, like lightning behind a curtain." The platoon took shelter in a stone farmhouse and waited for the noise to stop. Then, silence. When they awoke the next morning, everything was different. The sky had a grey tint, the forest smelled of smoke and iron, and the air felt heavier, as if the world itself had shifted. The roads that once led to Allied posts were gone, replaced by overgrown tracks. And when they tried to radio command, all they heard was static. By noon, they spotted movement in the distance, soldiers in dark green uniforms carrying weapons they didn't recognize. Not German, not Italian, not Allied. When one of the platoon's scouts waved a white flag to signal, the strange troops raised black rifles, metallic, box-shaped, nothing like anything seen in 1945. The 22nd Platoon retreated into the forest. For 3 days, they survived on rations, avoiding patrols and trying to find their bearings. But when they reached the nearby village of Desenzano, the shock deepened. The houses were different. Concrete buildings stood where old stone inns had been. And the villagers, they wore clothes that seemed modern. When Sergeant Owen approached a local for help, the man screamed and ran, shouting words none of the soldiers could understand. Not German, not Italian, not even Latin-based. It was like hearing a dialect that didn't exist. By the 5th day, the platoon was desperate. They set up camp by the lakeshore, debating whether they'd lost their minds. Some thought it was a chemical weapon test gone wrong. Others believed they'd stumbled into a secret experiment. Something involving radar or magnetics, both new military technologies, in 1945. But what came next shattered even those theories. As dawn broke, the men saw a convoy of armored vehicles moving across the road. Sleek, angular, painted in camouflage patterns unknown to any nation at the time. Private Harper took a photograph through binoculars, his last recorded action before the platoon was discovered. They opened fire to defend themselves, but the bullets had no effect. The unknown soldiers didn't fire back, they simply advanced. And then, in Harper's words, everything went white. Weeks later, Allied command listed the entire platoon as missing, presumed captured. Their camp was found empty, weapons stacked neatly, and one camera partially buried near a lake. Inside, investigators found 2 damaged rolls of film. Only one frame survived. That photograph, now archived in the British Ministry of Defence, shows 6 figures standing beside an armoured vehicle that wouldn't be manufactured until 1963. Declassified in 1992, it reignited speculation among historians and scientists alike. Some claimed it was a simple case of misidentification, that the image had been tampered with or misdated. Others pointed out inconsistencies in the negative, that matched no known photographic error. But the strangest evidence came not from the photo, but from the testimony of a local man given decades later. He claimed that in the spring of 1945, his father told stories of ghost soldiers who appeared by the lake wearing strange uniforms and speaking English. They asked what year it was. And when told 1962, they ran toward the woods and vanished. Skeptics argue it's nothing more than wartime confusion, a myth born from exhaustion, trauma, or broken memory. But others believe the 22nd Reconnaissance Platoon stumbled into something else, a ripple in time, caused by the unprecedented energy of global warfare. After all, the final months of World War II saw humanity experimenting with unimaginable forces. Radar waves, atomic detonation, and massive electromagnetic fields. Could one of those have opened a door, even for just a moment? And if it did those soldiers simply walk through? In 2018, researchers from the University of Turin re-examined the surviving film negative using spectral analysis. They discovered faint inscriptions on one soldier's helmet, the same identification number as Private Harper's military file. But Harper was officially declared dead in 1945. No remains were ever recovered, only the photo and the mystery. So what really happened to the platoon that woke up in the wrong war? Were they the victims of a top-secret experiment or witnesses to something we can't yet explain? Whatever the truth, their story serves as a chilling reminder. In war, time itself can fracture, and sometimes the past refuses to stay where it belongs because maybe, just maybe, some soldiers never came home. Not because they died, but because they slipped into a future no one was ready for. If this story made you question what's truly possible, share it and tell me in the comments, do you believe they were victims of war or travelers lost between time? Don't forget to subscribe to Relic Remnants for more untold wartime mysteries, because the past still has secrets to whisper.